Hello, everyone, to the I Live Truth podcast and channel. My name is Earl, and welcome. This is my first attempt at a live stream. Everyone, to the I Live Truth podcast, and I'm not sure how it's gonna go, but we are going to check it out. Um, Living where I do currently, our internet isn't very fast, so the stream quality, the video anyway, is probably not going to be great. But we're gonna give it a go. Also, make sure to bookmark and subscribe. I Live Truth on YouTube, also ilivetruth.com, and also you can subscribe on Spotify. The easy way to do that is to go to spotify.ilivetruth.com, and you can also find me on Odyssey. Now, I didn't really intend on being there, but I just tried to go live on YouTube, and they told me I had to wait 24 hours. So I said, all right, let's see what else I can do to go live now. Anyway, so it's been a while since I did a stream. I'm not gonna go into detail about my legal battle that I'm going through right now. What I did want to talk about is uh, so I've been trying to, I've been contemplating and really thinking, wondering how I was going to talk to my kids about God, especially my daughter, because she's almost 4 now. My son's almost 1, so he's not quite there yet. But I want to make sure I can teach her about creation and the Creator, and I believed in God for quite a while, most of my life, and but I didn't really give much or pay much attention to the Bible. I knew there was some truth there at the least, long ago, but it wasn't until about a year ago, maybe, I started really thinking that I needed to get through the Bible and actually study it. And then it wasn't until maybe 3 months ago that I really started reading the Bible and actually studying it and looking through it, trying to see, what it had to say, what it said about life, yada yada, all that stuff. So, and I really wasn't even really diligent about it until maybe a month ago, maybe even 3 weeks ago. But anyway, it's, at least for me, I don't know if this is true for everybody because I didn't grow up in a Christian home. I didn't go to church. You know, uh, my family, they do believe in God, my older family, but it was really never talked about and really wasn't, I guess, an everyday thing, like it should be, really, if you're true about it. So, like I said, I've been kind of thinking, wondering how I was going to teach my daughter about it. And a friend introduced me to this video seminar series. It's something about the divine principle or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember the exact title. I got it written down somewhere. But anyway, it goes from the standpoint that God never intended the fall. And the scripture really does line up with that, And in the video, I watched a couple of videos now, and in the one it said, he the the purpose of the creation is basically so us, man, can see God's handiwork and learn about God through his creation. You study an artist and you can kind of get to know them, after you start consuming a lot of their content, often, whether it's a painting, music, whatever, you actually start to feel like you can get to know whoever whoever made that. And so basically, the creation is for us. And if you go from the standpoint that God never wanted the fall, didn't want Adam and Eve to touch that forbidden fruit, then it I mean, it's really kind of mind blowing because God created this realm to basically, I don't really know exactly, but I'm going to give my point of view, my belief about it. And if you don't agree with me, that's fine. Let me know in the comments or shoot me an email. I just live truth at gmail.com. And yeah, so anyway, the purpose of this creation is for us, for man, and we are to be fruitful, multiply, and have dominion over this realm. And so that was really a big kind of a and I've always heard that, I've always known that, but just the way that this guy explained it in this seminar, this video series, it really stuck out to me. And so with that, also before I really get into that, I want to talk about an experience that I had, I don't know, 3 4 days ago at my daughter's school. So every day, we go once a week and we meet with the other parents and the kids that are in the program, and it's at a church, and everybody there is really awesome, really on the right path, it seems. So it's just a good environment. The tutors that teach the classes are really great. They're really engaging. They seem actually happy about what they're doing. It's not like teachers, at least the teachers I had when I was going to school, many years ago. They actually want to be there, and they want to take part in their children's education. They're raising them, and it's awesome. But anyway, so we've been going. I think we're on our 11th week now. We started 3 weeks late, so I think it was our 8th week this last week that we went. And so far, we haven't really had much time to interact. Like, my daughter hasn't had much time to interact with her classmates, mainly because, well, for one, she doesn't know them, so she's kind of hesitant, to engage with them. And also because, so we get there, we do classes, they're pretty short. I'm not exactly sure the length of each one, but there's a few different classes. Then we break for snack time. They do presentation time while they're eating. And basically, it's just like public speaking for the kids, show and tell essentially. But the way they do it. So when I first heard about this program, we went to an open house, which is basically come sit in with us for a day with your kids and see what we do. And the first time we went, during the presentation time, these kids, the foundations, which is the basically the beginning class, or the beginning section of this program. There's three of them, but it's for 4 to, I think, 8 year olds maybe. And but all the kids in our class around like 5 and 6. And so we went into this room, and there's probably 6 other kids, maybe 5 at this time. And this young boy, he was given his presentation, and I had my daughter sit at the table. They had him in like a U shape, where the kid giving the presentation was, in the opening of the U, and the kids were sat up there with chairs, and they were eating snacks. And I was up there with my daughter. We were basically at the front left, and I was kneeling down by my daughter behind the chair so she'd stay there, so she'd feel safe and secure because I was there. And this little boy, he was given a presentation. I don't remember what he was showing, but so they give their presentation, and then at the end of it, they say, "Does anybody have any questions?" And all the kids, a bunch of them, just shoot their hands up immediately. And the questions they ask are just awesome, super cute. And just great. So, anyway, when this boy was giving his presentation, he was looking at me, and I'm a complete stranger at this point. This is my first time there. I've only been around these kids for a half hour, maybe an hour at this time. And this boy, he was giving a presentation and he was looking me in the eyes while he was talking to me. This kid probably wasn't over 6. I think maybe even 5, but just the way that he looked at me, a stranger, a man, in front of him as he was giving his presentation, and I was just like, wow, that's really it was mind blowing because that's not typical. And anyway, so like I said, this is maybe our 8th week. We are 3 weeks late starting, and so far my daughter hasn't really had a chance to interact with them. Main, like I was saying before, um, at the end of all the classes, there's cleanup time. Parents do chores, and the kids get to run around with each other for like, I don't know, an hour, half hour, hour. And we hadn't been staying because we had to rush home, and I had to get to work. I had to work right after. It was just an hour of travel time just from the school to work, and that wasn't counting getting dressed, getting my lunch ready, all that stuff. So anyway, we stayed this time, and we had a Thanksgiving potluck, and everybody brought delicious food, and we really had a chance to sit down with the other parents, the tutors, and the tutors are parents to kids that are in the group, in that class, essentially the group. And so I had a chance to sit down with the guy who is the tutor for my daughter's group, and we sat down with him, his wife or girlfriend, and then another mom from the same class. And it's just great, it was really cool. So this is the first time we had a chance to actually talk when we weren't in class, and my daughter like was actually running around with the other kids. Like there was kids running, playing hide and seek and tag, and I was like, oh, hey, I think they're playing tag. Why don't you go play with them? And I urged her, and she actually went, and it was super surprising and relieving because like she needs that. She hasn't had a lot of time to be able to do that with kids. And anyway, so it was just a huge relief, and it was a really good day. It paid off. This whole thing paid off. Seeing her play with those kids and interact, and it was just great. But anyway, so the title of this stream is basically going to be how I'm talking to my kids about God and the creation. So the other day, I think it was like 3 days ago, my daughter, she I was explaining to her the night before about the creation and how this creation was made by God for us. And I was explaining like our chickens, because I've explained this to her before, animals, meat animals especially. When you raise them, you essentially like chick laying hens. So I used this example the other night when I was talking to her, and I said, just like our chickens, they're all laying hens, and we have some ducks too that lay. But I said, we give them a nice home, we feed them, we keep them warm in the winter, and they give us eggs. Their purpose is to give us food, to give us eggs, and we have to treat them well, love them, and just be good to them. And they give us food. That is their purpose. And so I used that example, and then I started talking about the sun and the moon, and I said essentially, God made the sun, God made the moon for us. I'm not sure what the moon is for, but the sun gives us light, gives us warmth, gives us food, helps the trees grow, helps the food plants grow, and they make the air we breathe. And then I started talking about just everything. The purpose of this realm is for us to get to know God, so we can basically, God created this realm, He put everything in it, and the purpose of that was to give us the right tools so we can carry on His mission, essentially. And that is to love, to build God's kingdom on earth, which is essentially God ruling over everybody, and then man under God, and then man is to be a good steward to this realm, essentially. And so she was asking me questions when I was explaining this, like she just said it like snow because it just snowed here and she loves snow. And I said, yeah, it has many purposes. And she said it's good. She one of her favorite things to do with snow is to collect some in a cup, clean snow, and then pour kombucha over it, so it's like a snow cone, because we don't want her having tons of sugar, so we make those with better drinks. But so she really started to understand. And then the next day, she, at one point in time, she did something that hurt my feelings. And her mom and her brother were sleeping. They're taking a nap. So it was just me and her awake. And it was just one-on-one time with her. And we were on our way outside. I got her snow pants on, not her, she's mostly ready to go outside. And I said, okay, we can go out. Just let me finish making my cup of coffee or whatever I was doing. And she did the thing that hurt my feelings, and it was just a hurtful thing she said. And I said, what are we supposed to do when we hurt somebody? And I've told her few times. I've been trying to model it. When someone points out something I do that's wrong, like I raise my voice, and it's pointed out to me, I immediately take ownership. I say, I'm sorry, you're right. I should not have done that. I'm sorry. I'll try not to do that. And, whether or not I actually consistently keep my voice down in the situation that I'm in, that's not always the case. But I address it, I take ownership, I apologize, and I try not to do it again. A proper apology usually includes asking for forgiveness at the end, which I'm not great at. I need to still really work on that. But anyway, so she said the hurtful thing to me. I said, what are we supposed to do? And she wouldn't apologize. And I just tried elaborating on it. Well, when you do something that hurts someone and somebody tells you that it hurt them, you're supposed to say, I'm sorry. It was wrong of me to do that. To name the sin. I'm trying to get her to do that. Like, it was wrong of me to say that to you. That's not true. I'm sorry. And so she wouldn't say it. And after maybe 5 minutes or something, I said, we're not going outside because you hurt my feelings. And then she got all upset, started screaming, crying. She's not even 4 yet, almost 4. So expected. But she did it. And then she said the thing she said before again. And I said, that really hurt my feelings. And then she, when she did it the second time, I kneeled down to her level, and like it really did bring tears to my eyes. So I let her see that she made me cry because she said something hurtful to me. And after a few minutes of her not apologizing, I said, all right, I'm putting you in timeout then. And I took her to her bedroom, and she threw a fit in there for a couple minutes. And then I said, all right, let's go. We're not going outside until you can apologize to me. And she wasn't going to at first, and then she started crying. And I said, why are you crying? And she's like, I don't know. And I started introducing the concept of conscience. And I read this book, or I started reading this book a couple months ago. I think it's Discerning the Voice of God. And in that book, they talk about how the voice of God is essentially your conscience. And the more you try carrying out God's will, like you try doing good and doing good things, that voice becomes louder. Your conscience becomes more powerful, and essentially, it's just guidance. And so I said, why do you feel bad? And she said, I don't know. And I said, and she kept saying, I don't mean that. I don't mean that. But I said, you have to please say, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. And I wanted her to tell me again what she said. I said, you got to name the sin. And over the last couple of days, I was trying to explain to her what sin is. And I said that it's essentially anything that goes against God. So if you intentionally hurt somebody, especially if you don't even mean what was said, that's a sin. So eventually, after a few minutes of her being upset and crying, because she hurt my feelings and she knew it and she felt bad. Kids are pure, they are literally gifts from God. And at this age, they're closer to God. They've been corrupted less, they're still close. And so I said, you feel bad because that was wrong. That feeling you get there, that's God. Some people call it conscience, your conscience. And you really got to try to pay attention to that, because the more you pay attention to that, the closer you'll be to God. I said, that's God talking to you. That's God speaking to you. He doesn't talk like we do with words, with a mouth. He gives you feelings, and you really got to pay attention to that. And I said, so if you do something to somebody and you feel bad about it, and then you apologize, you usually feel better, because that's essentially carrying out God's will. You're doing what God wants. And I asked her, do you feel better now? And she said, yeah. And, I was hugging her while I was saying this. I was bending down, crouching down, hugging her. And I just thought it was a really good teaching experience. I didn't yell at her. I just tried my best to display how much she hurt me by body language and little words, not I didn't try to elaborate too much on it. I just tried to explain it to her in a way that she could understand. And I think it really helped. I think it was kind of a breakthrough. And then the next, I think it was yesterday, I started talking to her about dreams, and how dreams are sometimes, they can be good, they can be bad. Other times they can help us, they can give us guidance. And I said, sometimes God can speak to us in our dreams. And, you know, uh, I'll talk about that more in a future episode, a future stream. But I just wanted to explain how I used the situation, where that it did hurt me, and I used it in a way to show my daughter, to teach my daughter about God communicating with us and being in our lives. Because up until a couple weeks ago, I always felt that God was like this abstract, distant, impersonal thing, and I'm starting to see now, after thinking about this conscious thing and dreams and just like feelings, our senses, we're supposed to be able to be close to God. It's just in this fallen world that we live in, Excuse me. In this fallen world we currently live in, people are, it's just inverted, the morality's gone, in most of the world, not all of it, because when I'm at the school, once a week, I feel hope. We start the day off. There's an assembly where the director just gives like updates on the program, stuff like that. People ask for prayers. We pray together, and then we say the Pledge of Allegiance. And then, like, after the Pledge of Allegiance, everybody does this pledge to the Bible, and it goes. One second. I just want to make sure I get it right. I pledge allegiance to the Bible, God's holy word. I will make it a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. I will hide God's word in my heart that I might not sin against God. And being in a room, being in a church with a bunch of kids and parents, parents that are actually being the main driver in their child's education, and being proactive in a way that most of the world hasn't in decades, if not longer, then hearing everybody pledge allegiance and then pledge allegiance to the Bible, it's just like so powerful. And then it's just, there may be a lot of fallen people out there. There may be a lot of people, lost people. Most of the world may be inverted, but it's not all inverted. And over these last few years in our world, yes, it's been bad for most, and it may get worse for most. However, what has came out of this is incredible, and what could come out of this it's the possibilities are endless, especially because so many people are going back to God. That's what this whole thing did to me. It just, at the beginning, maybe 2 years ago, maybe three now, I began studying law, and I started seeing that even though all this nonsense was happening, these mandates and everything, nobody was forcing anything, really. They were manipulating and coercing, but it appeared to me that people were following some type of law, because a few years ago I was like all about anarchy. I'm like, yeah, the government needs to fall, blah 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 blah, and I was misled. I was wrong. And then I started studying law, and I started seeing that the law still works. This judicial system, this government system in America, like foundationally, it's it's astonishing, to say the least. It's like almost perfect. And however, it's not great for most people because they took the training out of school, and whether or not this is intentional, I'm not going to talk about this here, but my point is that I started studying law. I started seeing that rules were being followed, and I also seen the existence of good and evil. It was just super visible to me. So the law led me back to the Bible, or led me to the Bible, and then really getting into the Bible led me to see that this is real. There's a reason why people are following these laws, these rules, because it, it's just it just really stood out to me. I don't really know what else to say about it except that, but this is a good thing ultimately. And there's, for a lot of people probably lost hope and everything, but it doesn't have to be bad. And for those that it's not bad for, it will be great. So with that, I'm going to get out of here. I just wanted to do a little video about that. My next video will probably be more about how I'm talking to my daughter currently about dreams and more about how I'm teaching her about God. So if you enjoyed this, subscribe on YouTube. Also, bookmark ilivetruth.com. That's where you can get the audio to all these streams. You can download it and listen to it wherever. Or you could go to Spotify, spotify.ilivetruth.com, punch that in your web browser. It'll take you right to the app on your phone or whatever. And if this is helpful to you, or if you want to support this in any way, there's a donation form on ilivetruth.com. And whatever. I mean, if you feel the need to, if not, that's fine. You know, this is my mission at this point, is to share what I'm learning about God and myself, trying to be honest with myself about where I failed and how I want to be better and how I believe that this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be public about this, be honest with this, about this, and hopefully it'll help somebody. And it's helping me. So with that, hope everyone's having a good night, and there will probably be more live streams. So stay tuned. Have a good day, or have a good night. See ya.